morning. Good
What
morning. The
Morning.
squad is here. Good morning. What's happening, squad?
Nothing much.
Yeah, we are back. We are back live. It is Tuesday morning. It is the HR morning show. Sorry for everyone out there waiting with the delay. We had a little bit of technical errors, but we are back and we are here. So before we get started, just a quick shout out to our West Coast production team, Evan, Melinda, and Ben out there dealing with the fires and everything. Thank you for still showing up. And the show must go on. But thoughts and prayers for everyone out on the West Coast. Be safe. And if you're able to help folks, help any way you can. So thank you very much to our team. And thank you to all the first responders and everyone out there. Now on with the show. We are back here. It is Tuesday morning. We got a big show for everyone today. We got a big segment. X to the Z with Mervyn.
Xto Z.
X to the Z, big guest from Transform. We got Aaron from TA Week, and we are ready to wake you up. And everyone out there, get involved in the comments. We want to
Get
chat.
in
We
the
want
chat.
to hear what you're up to. And you can follow us. Go over to Purple Acorn on good old LinkedIn. You can check us out on thepurplenetwork.com. We're on YouTube. We're a podcast. We're here every Tuesday, so let's get into the comments. Team, let's do a quick round of intros for anyone who has not met us. Let's start ladies first. Danielle, what's happening?
Oh, hey. Hey, for everyone.
Hey, hi.
Anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Danielle Farage, like garage with an F. And I do a lot of speaking and consulting all about next gen talent and how to retain, recruit, and attract us.
That's
And
right.
got a lot of speaking stuff coming up in the next few months. We'll get to the event roundup in a bit. But yeah, I'm really excited. People are amped to learn about Gen Z at work. Seems like.
Yeah, definitely. And anyone does not,
What's up?
Danielle, definitely follow her. She is a voice of the new generation. She is like Pepsi or Coke, whatever that awful tagline was. And if you guys don't know Joel, you're living under a rock because he's hitting you over the head on every social media platform imaginable. My man, to my left, it is Joel Algie. What's up, Joel?
Yo, what is up, Paz? Joe Laugi, the realist recruiter. If you don't know
Yes.
me, you're not on social media, and that's probably a good thing. I am a recruitment business owner. I own a media company, and I do some training. So if you need to up your social media game, get at me, reach out to me. I'm going to be at all the events this year. Can't
All of
wait
them.
to meet you face to face. And Adam, what about you? Who are you, and
Ooh,
what does
yes.
your daddy do?
Fearless leader.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? Well, he's a realist. Yeah, everybody. I am the host of one of the top global career podcasts, The Podcast. If you're living under a rock, you should definitely get out of it and check it out. And the founder of NHP Talent Group, boutique recruitment firm here in New York, specializing in all things marketing, media, and advertising. But more importantly, the three of us come together every week, 10 a.m., Tuesday morning, 7 a.m., out on the West Coast to bring you the best of the world from HR and TA. So let's get to it. Let's start with some headlines.
Headlines.
Talking about.
Well, take us through.
Take us through it.
The question of the day is, should AI be with us in the boardroom? Not just with us, but potentially replacing us. So essentially, I'm going to summarize for anyone who hasn't read this article. It's from Work Life, if you want to take a look at the full thing.
We'll link it up in the comments. Yeah.
But essentially, Genius Group is a company. They replaced, or they brought in an AI that is called Alan Turing, who is a famous mathematician and scientist, to serve as their chief AI officer. So helping the company with their AI strategy and advising on operations. So this story is not new. This is something that a lot of companies have started to do, is to bring on an AI employee. Some companies have replicated employees like CEOs, C-suite leaders, so that they could be in multiple places at once, or that they could provide feedback on, at scale for the company. So it's very interesting. I'm curious what you guys have to say, or if you've heard anything about this kind of strategy.
This is quite interesting. First of all, they named it Alan Turing after the mathematician, and I don't know if it's a coincidence, but when we talk about AI and we talk about the Turing test, it's really about if a ML or an AI platform has the emotional ability of a human. So it's interesting they called him that. I mean, just how we're seeing the evolution in large organizations of chief content officer and the transformation of the chief information officer and other technological innovations, I think that this is going to be a critical position from a lot of different perspectives, whether that be internal systems, outside monitoring, and just really being at the tip of the spear of all things AI for an organization. Super critical. And then on the other side, as you were alluding to before, the AI clones and the duplication, that's a whole other story. Joel, what's your take on this?
Well, look, I can't really speak to it from the perspective of big companies and what they're planning on doing. I mean, my thought with this would be, as soon as they make a mistake or as soon as AI does something that like loses a company billions of dollars, I think everybody's going to have second thoughts. But what I have noticed is, and I could speak from this perspective, Instagram has given me my own AI. And
What do you
basically
mean?
what it is they've taken all my content, right? I got thousands of videos. I've said thousands of things. They've given me an AI that will respond to people when they DM me. And this is in beta test. But I've tested it out myself, and I've asked it questions. Questions like, should your resume only be one page? Or what do I do
Where
if somebody isn't reaching back out to me? And the responses that it gives are pretty accurate. So
where does that live in your DM? Like if
in my
people reach out
DM,
to you?
yeah, people,
Because I saw that with somebody else. I reached out to somebody and I got their AI response on that, and it was weird. So can you override it? Like, could
yeah,
you?
there's certain words I will not let it talk about. So I like when it comes to mental health, when it comes to
Smart.
anything that's like depression related, if someone really needs help, I've
Hmm.
kind of stopped it from talking about that. I've stopped it
Right.
talking about anything like sexual because I don't want someone like having a weird conversation with my
Like
AI and
Surge.
screen posting it like Surge. Um,
Yeah,
so I think like this sort of stuff I think is helpful if there's parameters.
I
But I think
agree.
if you're a business leader, you got to test it out because if you have an employee, maybe they leverage they get you to agree, they get your AI to agree to you
For the
giving them a
contractual.
bonus,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
what? Like, who's responsible? You gonna say no? It's just AI. I don't know.
I think this is going to be fascinating too. And as we get into the event round, we're going to be at a lot of events this year. And again, the buzzword is going to be AI. And I think this is an interesting topic. I'm going to start to work it into a lot of my conversations with executives too, because they're using bots for negotiations with potential candidates. They're using AI agents internally with their HR platforms to talk about benefits. Where is that limit from a liability perspective? Who's monitoring it? Who's watching it? And where's the accountability? From a legal standpoint too, we're opening up a whole new world of regulatory compliance and potential, issues from a legal standpoint. It's fascinating. Good thing I'm not involved with it.
Well, I know what I'm going to be doing later. I'm going to be asking all sorts of questions in Joel's DMs.
It only works to people who like we're not mutuals. So
Oh.
you have a direct line through to me because I think we follow each other. So and we know we follow each other. So
This is
So how do
interesting.
you how do you respond to like those? It seems like they're bots, but sometimes they're not. When they're just like, "Do you have a job? I need a job."
it literally it will just write back and say, yeah, I have a job. I'm a recruiter. If you want more resources, check it out.
Oh
Well,
wow.
it's interesting too. It's a wealth of information because they have so much content on you, Joel. From
Yeah.
all they're able to
Yeah.
like I have that same similar system with what I use for my podcast or recorder on Riverside. I could literally,
Sure.
write copy. It has all my voice. It could just create a podcast, which is pretty cool. So when I get really lazy, I'm just gonna start just typing things and just let it,
It
record it from there.
it eerily reminds me of that Black Mirror episode
Yeah.
where the husband goes out, he dies, and then he comes back, first of all, an email and starts texting the widow, and
Oh
then
yeah.
it has the voice on there as well, and
So
then eventually
freaky.
ends up in a silicon human or a fake silicon human.
Human.
And then she realizes it's kind of him, but it's not him because there's certain things that it says that he would never say. But from an
So
AI perspective, it would like kind of generate that as a logical response.
Josh is an interesting point. AI does not have a place in the actual boardroom, and I kind of lean in that direction too. The purpose of a board is to have a consensus to protect the company, internally and externally, right? So at what point, where's the limit of AI? I mean, I do think there needs to be a chief AI officer. Maybe that's part of the chief tech officer kind of role, but we could get into the details of that. So
I
I'm
I,
curious what the people are saying in the comments.
I think
Yeah, what do you guys think?
to
What
that
does
point,
Danielle think?
I do think that AI could serve as sort of like an oversight committee,
Like an
right? Like,
overlord.
yeah, an overlord.
So you're giving
Hopefully
it free
not.
reins to take over. That's what I'm
What
hearing.
I mean by that is we all have, we all have our moments. We all have times when we might be
No.
missing something, And I think it's very possible, especially if the boardroom is all men, for an AI potentially to help mitigate bias and maybe bring up things that we're not thinking about and ask us questions that challenge us and force us to think a little bit more critically about the decisions that we're making.
But not, as Josh is saying in the comments, not for final decisions,
No.
right? But the beauty of AI is also, for me when I use it, is to look at blind spots from an analytics standpoint, from a news standpoint, from a content standpoint.
Exactly.
What are we missing? I mean, I'm sure companies are using it for their annual reports, their quarterly reports. What are we missing here from
Or
a
it's like
trend perspective?
in the middle of a meeting, it's like, oh, well, actually, let's talk about, what were our, quarterly results from this year. It just like quick answers that are all about the company that you might need top of mind.
Yeah, Guillermo makes a good point here too. I mean, a lot of the conversations we have around AI is ethical use of AI and either removing bias or sometimes however you build the system, data in, data out is going to determine if your AI platforms and machine learning are biased or not. It's data in, data out. So that's why a chief ethics officer is important as a human to oversee that, especially when we start to get into HR and TA use cases, and then data efficacy and all those things too. We could beat this one, for another hour, but we got to keep the show on the road here. If you guys want to talk about it, let's continue the conversation in the comments. We'll be hopping online when we're done with the show, and we'll keep that conversation going, guys. But it is time for, what time is it? It's time for the event roundup, right? All three of us. I think all three of us are going to be a Transformer. Is that the first time Voltron's coming together this year?
Think
We have
so.
separate. We have like a head and an arm at TA Week. We have some people here, some people there. We're going to be everywhere. But let's talk about what's coming up. Joel, take us through event roundup.
Yeah, we've got the implementing a people first culture. This is a live webinar presented by Textio. We've got Anessa Fike,
All our friends.
Howard, and Tracy Sponenberg. So, guys, highly recommend checking out this webinar. And it's huge, right? Because we're talking about, to your point, Adam, so much of the conversation is around AI agents and AI.
AIEIO.
People first, though, right? People first, and that's what I love about this conversation. And the speakers are not just people who know; these are people who actually live out what they're talking about as well. So
that's next Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Next
Tuesday at this time.
10 a.m.
Oh, at 10 a.m.
Attend this and then. No, I'm just kidding, guys. There's a conflict here.
Yes, don't
There
worry.
is a conflict. Also, we should probably shout out that Joel and I are speaking also with Rocky Howard on a panel tomorrow morning. I think what time is it at? It's 7 a.m. PT, so 10 a.m. ET, which will be very, very fun.
Yeah, and then coming up real soon, first road trip of the year, Joel and I will be in San Diego for TA Week. Representing the Purple Acorn crew.
The boys.
We're going to be out there in San Diego. We're there to learn, to absorb, and have some fun and hang out with the TA community. And then right on the heels of that, it is conference season, big time. And we start off with my favorite one of the year. It is Transform.
Seriously, so exciting.
Transform 2025 at the Wynn Hotel. It's just a vibe.
Always a win. It's always a win-win.
It's a vibe.
It's a win.
It's a vibe, right? Transform is a vibe. It's good people there. I'll be out there with the podcast on behalf of our friends
who are you
over at
gonna be
Greenhouse.
with?
I'm going to be with our friends from Greenhouse. Yes.
Blue Motel? Blue
Greenhouse.
Okay,
Yes.
Greenhouse. I just needed I needed to confirm that.
Right, and we have a lot going on. I'll be doing the podcast there. I'll also be on stage hosting a panel. And wait a minute, it's not just me, but I got these two folks on either side of me hitting the stage.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And guess what? Anyone listening out there, as of the 17th, the prices go up. Please get in now. Secure your ticket. Secure your room at the Wynn. Guys, this is where it all happens. Transform 2025. And don't just take my word for it. We have the lady in charge coming up in a little bit. We have Samara Jaffe, who's going to be joining us next, right? What else do we have? And then we have a lot more after that.
And then
but we're going to say future.
We We have the ERE recruiting conference in April, which I will be at.
Oh, cool.
Exciting. I'll be on stage at that one.
The Recruiting Innovation Summit, is that the one?
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing.
Nice. And where's that happening? That's in Vegas too, right?
That's also in Vegas.
At the Red Rock.
Yep. That'll be really fun.
Cool. Good stuff. So folks out there, please come by, say hello. We love to meet our TA and HR friends.
And
Danielle,
guys,
Danielle and I do not charge for selfies, but Joel does charge. So have your Venmo QR code ready because he's going to ask you.
It's cheap. It's $10. I accept PayPal, and it's all good. Crypto is also accepted. But guys, let me know, number one, in the chat, what events are you going to? And if you are interested in getting a discount code as well for Transform,
yes,
you can
in the link.
Myself, DM Adam, DM Danielle.
We'll hook up
codes. DM us, whoever's live you're seeing this on right now.
You have a couple more days.
If you aren't viewing this live on my channel, just go look me up. I'll hook you up.
And guys, trust me, there's the win is the place to be. And you know what? If you need help convincing your boss, management, DM us. We have some pro tips to help you, and we'll talk about the lineup. We'll talk about the speakers. But let's keep it going. And hold on, we have a caller. Here she comes, Samara. Oh yeah, hey, hi, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Did we wake you up? I know it's bright and early out there on the West Coast.
It is bright and early, but I tried to pull it together.
You did.
And I do have my coffee in hand with a special Transform mug.
What? I'll show you my mug. So
yeah, no.
I have. This is thanks to Amy Miller. I am the world's okayest recruiter.
Oh, love it.
I'm say no to the bots. Say no to the ATS bots. So for anyone out there, Samara, a quick introduction and overview. Tell us who you are and what you do best.
Yes. I am the co-founder and GM of Transform, which is a global community platform focused on the transformation of people plus work. You probably know us best for the conference. I love Danielle and Joel and Adam. Thank you for all of the love and support for Transform. So very grateful to have you as a part of the community. So most well known for the conference, which is coming up in, wow, I think it's like
who's counting?
8 weeks now, which is crazy. Who's coming?
Who's coming? Well, we're gonna give a shout out to the speakers in a moment. But I want to share a real quick kind of story. So last year, March was the first time I took the podcast on the road to one of these industry events. It was my first big one. I've been to a couple of smaller local ones here in New York, but the first thing I noticed, Samara, when I walked in there, it was an energy. There was a vibe. There was chatter. People were engaged. People felt there was a great energy. And I think that has a lot to do with two things. First and foremost, you and the team for curating a fantastic experience and environment. And I think also it's the venue. It's the win. When it comes down to Vegas, for me, it's a win, right? There's a warmth. There's a feel to it. You're not in a giant concrete exposition hall. It just feels good. And there's a nice mix, right? There's a nice mix of panels, keynote speakers. You could walk the expo hall and really get to meet and see all the products and the vendors and innovation. And yes, honestly, we're all selling something, but it's not a pushy event. It's conversations. And I think that's really what makes Transform special. What also, as I mentioned, what makes it special are the speakers. Let's give a little highlights. Who do we got on stage this year? What are we talking about?
There's so many amazing speakers, but maybe first heard here, we're going to be
exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. We're going to be announcing one of our main stage sessions, which I feel like I'm a bit of a fangirl, so I'm excited. But we're going to be welcoming Ursula Burns, the first African-American woman to be CEO of a Fortune 500 organization, Xerox. And she will be joined by Brian Baker, who is the first ever CPO of Teneo. They're going to be talking about the art of first, so pioneering change within organizations. So really looking forward to that. That's a first up session. Many of the, I'd say the OGs in the Transform community will be there, from Marcus Sawyer, that many know, to Mala Singh, the CPO at EA.
To Joel Alge, right?
Joel and Danielle. Thrilled to have Danielle taking the stage for the first time this year. Kudos to her for kind of, taking her power and using her voice at the event this past March, and certainly got her on our radar. And so we're loving getting to know her and having her on stage this year.
It's great to see. It's great to see new voices, right? Younger voices. It's good to see the next generation, because that's what it's all about. These are the leaders of tomorrow. These are the voices of now, and it's even more critical to amplify them. So it's good to see new faces. It's good to hear new things from people who have been on the speaking trail before. I think that's important too. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of AI. Hopefully we're moving the AI conversation forward from where we were a year ago. I think the political DEI and B is going to be a big one this year. What do you think?
I think absolutely, yeah. So have some exciting speakers on that front as well that will be announced. So the lineup just keeps getting better and better, and we're thrilled that everyone wants to join us and wants to take the stage and share their perspectives. I mean, I think one of the things you mentioned is it's really about the conversations in the room, not as much the stage. I mean, the stage is important and the content sessions are critical, but it's about the conversations that continue after that stage time.
Absolutely.
The leaders here lean in and they want to discover technology. They want to push the envelope. They want to learn new things. And so that's amazing and privileged to be able to host everyone.
It's about connection, and it's about the conversations in the hallways and the serendipitous moments. And the one I love from last year, I was taking a break from recording the show, and I walked the hallway and I run into Brian Fink and Mita Malik, and I know both of them very well, but they don't know each other. And Brian is a huge fanboy of Mita, and it was an incredible moment for him to talk about her book and how much he appreciates her, and just see those moments. It was also the first time I met Danielle last year in the hallway. Yeah, Danielle, yeah, I see you down there. That's the first time we met. And then there's outside of it, it's the dinners, it's the happy hours, it's the hanging out. It is the after party. Let's talk about it. Who do we have this year? It is
Timbaland.
Yes.
In full force. So I guess we don't have any tunes. We didn't arrange the DJ, but I was jamming this morning. I mean, he is an iconic talent, talent in his own right, but also amazing producer. Well known for songs like Sexy Back and Apologize, right? I did a lot of work with Timberlake, One Republic. Those are some of my...
the list goes on. And
I know. So many. I love it. I'm getting ready.
Do you think we could have a Flavor Flav cameo again? Is that gonna? Or I would not
know. You never know what surprises we will discover.
You never know. And shout out, I believe it's Greenhouse and Lattice that are going to be helping bring the.
Greenhouse and
sorry.
Hi Bob will.
Hi Bob. My bad. Hi Bob. Yes.
Happen. Yeah.
Yes, and that's going to be exciting. Pro tips. Well, let me take a step back. Who is this conference for, and why should they be there?
Yep. This conference is for business leaders who care about creating people-first organizations, HR leaders from CHROs to heads of DEI, talent acquisition, total rewards, L&D, people experience, HRBP, and their teams. So we increasingly are seeing more leaders come with their teams. Right, great way to divide and conquer and kind of create experiences, do a team offsite, share learnings together. Also, the talent partner, operating partner within VC and PE firms, as well as investors focused on investing in HR tech, work tech, health tech, fintech that are distributed through the employer channel, founders and innovators, consultants, health brokers, health insurance payers.
If you're in the space, get involved.
And, all of the surrounding industries, right? Thinking about really the future of work and this intersection of what's best for people and what's best for business.
I love it. And anybody out there, again, if you don't know if you should be there, if you don't know how to convince, the decision makers, the who control the purse strings, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to give you some ammunition to help fuel that. Pro tip for
me, I love talking to members of the community, always available. So feel free to DM me to chat.
That's another piece too. Let's talk about the community element and how it's an ongoing conversation for the year. I think it's a big piece that people don't realize. A lot of these conferences are kind of one-offs. You get ready, you prepare for it, and then it's done. But Transform has done an amazing job of building a community around this industry. You mind talking about that for a moment?
Thank you. We actually launched the community at the event this past March. One of the things that we've heard over the years was, right, how do we make this an ongoing conversation, not just 3 magical days in Vegas? So we are really proud to now host over 3,800 members in our online community on a global scale. We actually have 60 chapters internationally, bringing people together locally and then connecting them globally. So you can talk to people in Nigeria, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, all over Europe, right? The world has opened up so much more. And as a part of your conference ticket, you actually get a pro membership for a year. So it's a great value to start the conversation. Can I just highlight one other thing? So in addition to the chapters, we have these new affinity groups. Joel actually is a part of our TA group that's launching in February. And those affinity groups are a great opportunity to connect with others, similar passions, kind of similar roles. And we'll be hosting meetups of those groups at the conference as well. So more to come there. The Fractional People group already has elected to host their meetup at the kickoff reception on Monday the 17th.
Yes.
Alex and Tracy. So great opportunity to also kind of find your people.
Find your tribe, find your vibe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's this ain't your first rodeo, ain't your second rodeo, ain't your third rodeo in Vegas. What's
the gray and the white hairs I have now?
Samara, what's your pro tip for surviving any conference in Vegas?
I think go at your own pace, right? I mean, that's some of the most important tips is like, it's easy to want to jam everything in 3 days. And some people can do it effectively and they get endless energy from it. Other people just need to kind of go at their pace, right? Take time for yourself, right? Go outside. I mean, the amazing thing about the Wynn is there's amazing outdoor space.
Love that deck, right by when you're walking in.
Yep. Go outside, go by the pavilion, take a break, go have a conversation, take a meeting outside. So I think that's really important. The other thing is if you're a first-time attendee, make sure you join the community. We're going to kick off some early networking for the conference, actually in February on the community platform. And then that's a great opportunity to make sure you find your people. So you don't have to go alone. If you don't know anyone, we'll make sure you find friends and people before you even get there. And then make sure you join the first-time attendee experience on Monday at the conference. Also a great opportunity to kind of make instant friends and connections that I no doubt you will have for life.
Yes. And everyone, where could they find out more? Let's drop the website.
Yeah. Find out more at transform.us.
.us. I thought it was US.
Well, I like to say .us. I think it's even better that way.
I agree. And everyone out there, please find us. The Purple Acorn crew will be out there. We're not hard to spot or hear. We're all pretty loud voices. Come say hi. We love to connect. Thank you to Samara, Cal, all of our friends over at Transform. We appreciate your partnership with the HR Morning Show, with Purple Acorn, with the podcast, all of the incredible sponsors out there. Anyone in this community, this is the one to be at. And we'll see you there. Samara, thank you so much. Thank you for waking up early with us. Have a great day. And I'm sure I'll be emailing you at some point in the next couple of days anyway. So I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye, Samara. Take care.
Bye.
Pro tips out there. Speakeasies and clandestine hotel rooms in random Vegas hotels. One of my favorite Vegas running buddies, Ellen Bailey from Smart.
Hello
How you doing?
there. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing these back-to-backs today. That's what I do here. I am on a roll. Elaine, what's happened? Well, you were under the weather last week, right? And this is our first show of the year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It is the 14th, and I am already behind for the year. Yeah. I'm just like I'm overwhelmed and behind. How are you feeling? How's this year doing for you?
We're doing all right. We're here. We're here. Hopefully things are going to be picking up from a hiring perspective. I am a recruiter. I know you guys just see me out there, but my day job is a recruiter. Things are a little bit slow on our side, so we're hoping to see that pick up. I am a little bit more optimistic at this point, January 14th, 2025, than I was January 14th, 2024.
Good.
Was that last year?
This last year, yes.
I am feeling a little bit more optimistic. I mean, there's an inauguration coming up. Hopefully that spurs some economic. Hopefully, right? I need something. I need something here. What's happening over something new? What's happening over at Smart Recruiters before we dig into the topic du jour?
You know, we're super busy. I'm actually maybe I'll drop this here. Some early news happening. I am deep and busy planning a big global simulcast event for February 5th.
Whoa.
So we have some big news, some big conversations getting ready to drop. February 5th is going to be the date. Watch around where I'm talking and things that are going on. We'll give you more information coming soon. But yeah, big stuff happening.
That is some alpha. That is some alpha. But let's get into the global report. And today we're talking AI in 2025, the shift from if to how it integrates with work. Let's break it down.
Absolutely. Well, let's put this in something I think everybody can understand. As I mentioned, it's we're like 2 weeks into the year. I'm already feeling overwhelmed. I'm sure there are a lot of people already feeling overwhelmed. And part of the challenge here is that, you know, we've got all of these new AI tools. We're starting to leverage them and use them. I mean, I'm not the only one out there pumping away with ChatGPT,
right,
using all these other components. And it's supposed to give us this sense of freedom, right? Like, oh, I can have all of my manual tasks happen and I can automate all this stuff. And I'm suddenly going to have this moment.
All this free time.
This free time.
No.
That's not actually what's happening.
It's creating more work for you.
It's creating more work because we're working faster, right? And speed means we have space, and space doesn't get filled with what we hope it would, which is deep thought work, right? And so I think there's going to be we're starting to see some conversations emerge around what is deep work? How do we find space in our environments for deep work? How do we start to readjust our work patterns so that we can have those moments to have deeper, more complex thoughts, right? And it's hard to do. So we can have all sorts of things that will give us new energy and new ideas. But how do we actually take advantage of them and utilize them and find space? And we're seeing more and more companies who are starting to figure out that they need to start creating known spaces for this, right? So there was a trend, maybe I'm aging myself, but there was a trend maybe 5 or 6 years ago where companies were all going out and saying, listen, we're going to do no meeting Fridays. Oh, yeah. Everybody's going to not have meetings on Fridays, and we're going to pretend that's not going to happen. Everybody's going to have some deep, focused work time. And that kind of devolved over time. And, you know, it's like no meetings except for the important ones. And, oh, I'm in the important one, right? And we started to push more and more of those conversations. But we're seeing more companies starting to re-examine how do they find these spaces for people? How do they create these moments?
It's so interesting. I want to pause there for a moment because now you got me thinking. And I am a student, a practitioner, a hardcore user of different AI platforms, and it's created efficiencies for me. But the real question, as you brought up, is so now what? Now what are you doing with that time? Is it giving you more anxiety, more stress? Is it giving you more work to do? Is the AI informing you that you're missing something and now you're doubling down, right? Like we're at this point now where we all thought, yes, it is creating efficiencies and it is handling a lot of those repetitive and automated tasks to give us more time for deep thinking. But are we taking the time to think deeper?
Absolutely. So let me give you a scenario. And I know
what's the scenario?
I'm going to give you a scenario. I'm not the only, I swear I know I cannot be the only one who's doing this, right? How many of us now have ChatGPT open on, or some AI tool like
Perplexity,
that?
Whatever, yep.
Right? Opened up on a separate screen for ourselves, right? And we'll be in the middle of a meeting, we'll have a thought or idea, and we think, oh, I can just pop this over here and let it start do its thing, right? And then it's going to start generating new ideas for me while I'm working over here on in this meeting and conversation. But what's really happening is now I've got this side thing I'm watching over to the side where I'm starting to, it's like generating concepts and ideas. So a great example, I have a team of people coming in to meet with me here in New York tomorrow and the next day. And I need to get.
Is that where you are? You're in New York?
I'm in New York. I'm hanging in New York.
Hi.
And hi, and I need to get an agenda built for this meeting. I haven't had a chance to do it. I haven't had a chance to do it right. So
Right.
I immediately sat down today and said, oh, I'm just going to pump in a whole bunch of information about what's going to happen over here in ChatGPT while I'm in my meetings this morning. But I'm watching this over here. I'm trying to have my meeting over here. I'm multitasking at a rate we have never multitasked before.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving me ideas to think about. I'm trying to find space to have a real thought process around how I'm going to organize my day as I go forward. And it's almost as though we have so many tools now that can help us organize our thoughts that we don't give ourselves time to actually absorb it.
And I think there's a level of self-regulation, and I think everyone goes down the rabbit hole at their own pace. Some people are obviously more accelerated than others, and my friends are throwing all these tools over at me to try out this one the one that I'm playing with now is called Super Whisper, where I could literally talk into it. It's like a text to voice to text with an AI overlay that could integrate with all of your text-based platforms. And I've been playing around with it. I'm like, do I really need this? On top of Grammarly, on top of everything else, on top of all my other platforms, is it too much? Is it overkill?
Right.
How much of it do you need? And then it goes back to the same thing. My high-level thesis: use AI as a tool and not a crutch. Right? Don't rely on it for everything. And then there's people who I see dipping their toes into it, and they're not even removing the freaking M dashes when they're copying content. I mean, I can see a basic AI post in 3 seconds. It's not hard. Like, people are taking it as gospel, and you also have to fact check it.
Right. It's not as right.
It's so not the truth always.
Right. What we forget is that when we're doing deep creative thought, when we're doing deep thought, there's a process our brain is actually going through where it is taking information. It has to absorb it. It has to make sense of it, and then it does its own. It starts to do its own query. Right? You start to do this natural process of critical thinking inside your brain where you start asking yourself the next question: is that legitimate? What should I go check against that? Let me go validate that. Oh, that's sparking another thought over here, right? When we start to bring tools into place that allow us to take that level of kind of critical thinking analysis and put it on like super hyperdrive, our brains can't work as fast as this machine can prompt moments for us to have to go in and critically think. So it's like this crisis moment creating huge amounts of stress and anxiety.
The fact checking is a tough one too. Like, you put something into there and it spits these things out, and you read it and like take a moment to critically think for a second and be like, that doesn't sound like how I would talk. That doesn't sound like something I would say. That I don't even know if that's factually correct, because we're at this intersection of it being a trend and a fad now being incorporated into everyday life, mainstream adoption. Right, if you're looking at the adoption curve on it, right, we're getting up there, and everyday people are using it. People who haven't traditionally been early adopters and now at the testing and learning phase. So we have to give some people some grace. We have to allow people to make mistakes. But I also think if you're using it specifically for work too, be careful. This could affect like when you think you're being more productive, you actually are making errors and mistakes.
Absolutely. So we're filling because our work frameworks have all been focused on efficiency and task generation. No matter how we frame it, at the end of the day, it is how much can we accomplish in a given period of time, right? And that's very much accomplished as a task-based frame. It's not based on what new idea can I think of in a set amount of time. So we put this tool in place, we start activating it, where you're going faster and faster and faster with it. We don't apply that critical thought to it, and we're setting ourselves up for error, right? The biggest thing people don't get about these AI tools, you said it earlier today, it's data in, data out, right?
And only what you're providing it, or whatever its access points are,
and if you don't prompt it the right way, it's going to ask a different type. It's going to go and get information in a different place. I often refer to it as, listen, it's like your grade school or your teenager. It wants to make you happy with its answer. So it's going to come up with any way to frame it to make you happy about it. And then if you don't, just like with my 17-year-old, I have to turn around and go, is that really true? Can you prove that? Where did you get that information from?
I don't think that's factually. Yeah, right. I mean, it's interesting too. And I tell people, I have a lot of conversation with folks about how I use it for content creation around the podcast and some other pieces, to get to. And I talk about how I use it for efficiencies, but I have to fact check it. I have to go in and read it. And it's created incredible efficiencies in the same breath. It's not the holy grail. So, Lynn, what's coming up on your radar? Where are you going to be out early this year on the road?
early this year on the road. So I'm definitely I'm going to be in Madrid for our simulcast and for our
Nice.
big company kickoff that's happening in February.
I didn't get the invite for that.
I know it's a quiet little
Yeah.
invite, but you'll be invited to the virtual event. Everybody is.
Oh, great.
And
Can't wait.
then I'm going to hit up, I think I'm personally going to be at Transform this year. I'm excited about that. My first year out to Transform. I'm going to explore that a little bit. And then HR Tech EMEA. So I'm going to be in Europe coming up in March. I believe that's March. That's our next big one.
Yeah, maybe I'll see you out there. Maybe I'll be
Maybe,
crossing
that
over the
would be fun.
pond. We will see what's happening. Paz is planning to make a return to the UK this year, and maybe some other destinations in Europe. We'll see what happens there. But give us one more little alpha. What's going on with Smart Recruiters? What can we look for on the tech side? What's some innovation?
Oh, big, huge things happening. I'm
Huge.
actually super excited about what's happening in our embedded partnership space. So I can't give away too much, but we have some really exciting stuff getting ready to be released in February in relationship to some of our embedded partners and some of our collaborative partners to really amplify what we're able to accomplish. I think we're really having a really critical conversation with the industry right now that says, how do you focus on what you do best? And then partner up with the individuals who are doing or companies who are doing really great cohesive things that connect the story together for talent. So
Love it.
that's where we're headed. And Winston goes live in February, guys. First people are going to start using them. So that's the exciting
We
story.
found Winston. Now we're going to use Winston.
Exactly.
Alin Bailey from Smart Recruiters. Everyone, please check out Smart Recruiters. Alin, thank you for your time and thank you for your partnership, Smart Recruiters. Everyone, please check out smartrecruiters.com, right?
So, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Alin Bailey, everybody, safe travels. Enjoy your time in New York. Stay warm, and I'll see you on the road. Let's keep it moving. Thank you, Alin.
Thanks, guys.
That's a global report. Thank you, Smart Recruiters.
We got a little shout out from our friends at ERIN.
A big shout out.
A ginormous shout out as the premier employer referral and internal mobility software platform. If you don't know, ERIN increases employer
Now
referral
you know.
pairs by 5x. It's pretty cool.
I always say
And
your
decreasing
best
turnover by
recruiters.
50%.
What do you say, Joel? What do you always say?
I always say your best recruiters are happy employees.
Yes.
If you treat your people
Happy
right,
at work.
That's a
they
timeless
will.
clip. Timeless Joel clip.
It's a timeless clickbait post, guys.
Right.
Timeless.
But let's keep it real, guys. ERIN just hit 1.1 million leads, right?
Let's
so
go.
let's give a shout out to them.
Sounds
Thank
like
you.
1.1 million happy employees. to me.
Yes. That is a good translation.
cool.
Everyone out there, please check out ERIN top employee referral app. And we have sloths for days. You can get a sloth of your own. Head over to purpleacorn.io/free. Pick up a sloth of your own. And thank you for your
You have a
continued
family
support.
of sloths.
It's a sloth family. Yes,
They're
we have
really
lots.
I will also at TA Week be hanging out a lot with the ERIN crew. So huge shout out to Mike and team. We'll be hanging there. Adam, you'll probably be hanging out with us too.
I'm gonna kind of latch on and have all those drinks that you'll be passing on. So I'm gonna have all those free drinks.
I got tokens and I'll give them to you.
I love it. I'm excited to hang with our friends. Yeah, I mean, we're easy to spot. Just look down at our red shoes. They kind of look like this, and I'll clean mine before I go. But I've not taken these off since unless I'm wearing flip flops or dress shoes. These are my go-tos.
White Evan, you need to get Paz some new red shoes, and me too. Let's go.
Why do I need new ones? I love these.
Bro,
there's nothing wrong with them. I clean them. I clean my sneakers. That's what we do here in New York.
Bro, you're on the morning show.
What? Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Aaron, thank you so much for your support. We'll see you out there in TA Week. Everyone check out Aaron, and let's keep the show moving.
Sounds like a drunk uncle today.
Drunkle.
Hello. Welcome in, Aaron. Good to have you with us.
Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing well, my man. Why don't you give us a quick intro? Who are you? What do you do best?
I'm Aaron Kraljev. I lead talent attraction at National Veterinary Associates. I'm in my 16th year in talent acquisition. It's kind of my second career. I spent 10 years in marketing, so I'm a recovering marketer, and employer brand was kind of my foray into the recruiting space. But I've been doing it for 16 years. I love it. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and what do I do best? I think trying to find ways to take really complex problems and boil them down to very simple solutions.
Amazing. And we were talking about events earlier. We were talking about TA Week. You are going to be at Talent Acquisition Week. So what are you going to be speaking on? What inspired you with this topic?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, very top of mind. I've been leading top of funnel strategies for some time. AI and sourcing and where the intersection of using those tools and actually sounding like a human is something that's very interesting to me. I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, which in AI terms is forever. So we'll be talking about that. I think who's this session for. I think if you're AI curious or it's something that you tried it and you maybe didn't see the success you wanted, I think you'll get some value out of this chat.
I love it. Look, man, I would expect after being in talent acquisition for as long as you, and then marketing, I would expect a lot more gray. But why don't you give us a quick snapshot and like what have you seen change over the last 5 years when it comes to sourcing? Because I feel like the tech, I'm getting hit up by these vendors all the time. That it just seems like the tech is changing, it's constantly evolving. So what are some of the shifts that you've seen take place over the last, let's say, 5 years?
Yeah, tech in the recruiting space is fascinating. You get these periods where like there's zero movement or zero evolution. You see these wild expansion. And I think we're in the middle of the latter right now.
Yeah.
AI has really kicked off this whole kind of golden age of sourcing technology. Everything is embedded with AI now. So, Microsoft's purchase of ChatGPT, all the features that have been brought into LinkedIn, that felt like the moon landing, if you will, for AI and sourcing. And it's just taken off for there. Every presentation I sit through, every CRM demo, everything has an AI component now. And that's really the biggest change, which is awesome. I think where it gets challenging is like, what do we do with all this? Like how do we use this?
Yeah.
I think a lot of folks, I know a lot of sourcers. I work with a lot of sourcers, have worked with a lot of sourcers. They're like, I'm hanging on to my Boolean search strings. Like, you will take these from my cold dead fingers. And like, how do you get everybody on board on this journey so we can all use the tool to its fullest?
Are you in the camp of adapt or get replaced? Or are like we hear that a lot, right? You won't be replaced by AI, you'll be replaced by someone that knows AI. Like, how do you work with your team to address that? And, if you have people that maybe, are sticking with more traditional methods, but maybe getting results still, like how do you kind of coach and get the team up to speed with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've fully embraced our AI overlords. Let's be clear. I'm in the camp of like, let's do whatever we can to be as effective as possible. That being said, I think any good leader is going to allow somebody to kind of do what works best for them, embrace their style while also slowly taking them along for the ride. I think the last thing you can do is going to turn a lot of people off. Is like, no, you use this tool. Like, if I don't see you in this tool 1 day a week for an hour, which is a super weird behavior from a leader, but also you're not going to get the responses that you want. You're going to turn people off, and then you've lost them forever as far as that goes. So I think it's a real delicate balance between respecting somebody's style, but also opening them up to opportunities and new ways of doing things.
What would be your advice to, maybe someone who's up and coming in their career? Is this an opportunity? Like, do you see an opportunity for them to latch on to AI right now, be an early adapter? Like, what are some of the things that um, what's some of the advice that you would give someone in even just in terms of how to learn how to use AI and how to better themselves?
Yeah, there's no lack of information out there, right? Like, you can't go on LinkedIn without like, here are my 10 steps. And actually, not even LinkedIn, any social media platform, threads,
I
X,
see, I see it on TikTok all the time. It will be like, I'm going to walk you through the 10 AI steps that will transform your career. Save this video for later and repost it.
yeah, exactly. Also, that post was written by AI, right? So
It's an AI agent doing the actual
oh my
post.
God, yeah. And so it's super chicken and egg. I think you get these moments of like explosion, like I mentioned before. It creates a very unique opportunity to be an expert in something. Like I said, there's nobody in this space that's got 10 years of AI recruiting experience. It didn't exist 10 years ago. I worked in crypto for a couple of years. We were hiring cryptographers and smart contract engineers. That's a new thing. You're not going to find somebody with 15 years experience. So when you come across these moments, these opportunities where you've got a new technology, you can really be a thought leader, which is a phrase that I detest sometimes, but it
Yeah.
does create these openings, these opportunities where there's a new technology. There isn't a huge amount of game film or a lot of experience out there. I can step in and actually do this, not only help myself during my day job, but also create opportunities for me to strengthen my personal brand and become a leader in this space.
I wanna obviously we talk kind of high level. What's getting a little bit more granular? What's your favorite use case for AI, and like how are you practically using it, and like what are you excited about, or have you come across any tools that you're like, oh my god, not necessarily you have to name the tool, but maybe like what the actual tool does that you're like, all right, this is really exciting. Like what are some practical use cases?
Yeah, I started thinking about this presentation probably 3 months ago. And the craziest thing, Joel, about AI is I've had to like rewrite slides 2 or 3 times because it moves so fast,
I
right? So
know, I
just when
know.
you grasp onto something like, oh, I love this. This has changed the game. Like, oh wait, it's changed. I would anybody listening to this that's like, I don't even know where to get started. Take the thing you hate doing the most
I
and see
love
if
that.
I can replace that for you, right? Let's just make our lives easier. Let's create a little more joy and happiness in our roles. So for me, I worked in marketing for 10 years. The thing they don't tell you about recruiting is how much writing you do. I write 100 times more in recruiting than I ever did writing content, briefs, wireframes,
Wow.
for sites. And so I use AI as a writing tool, not to do all my writing, just to spark, just to get things moving where I can take it from there. I think from a sourcing perspective, it's really easy to write messaging. It's super easy to, there are ways to source talent in AI where we used to pay for tools for it, where AI will do it for you. I think AI is actually going to be a godsend for our budgets because, I mean, let's be honest. I don't know a lot of us that are listening right now where our budgets are larger or our teams are bigger than they were 2 or 3 years ago. AI does kind of replicate FTE in a lot of ways, and that's how I'm using it.
I love that idea of writing down, or not writing down, but looking at every single area that you do work in, and then, I mean, I guess you could write it down and almost list the tasks that you're doing and go, "What do I hate doing the most?
Yeah.
Can this be automated, or is there a tool out there that you could use?" What are some of the mistakes potentially that you're seeing people do? So we talked a little bit of how you can use AI to kind of benefit. Are you seeing people make mistakes, or are you seeing even people in your team where you're like, all right, hey, maybe don't do this?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like with great power comes great responsibility. Two things I would caution. One is we talk about this very openly on my team. Like we use AI, we talk about great ways to use it. What we don't do is we try to pass off our work that's done by AI. Like you need to be very transparent about it and the place AI plays in the overall strategic direction of your team. And you use it like anything else. Like, I'm going to date myself, like a calculator, like your keyboard, like your wireless, whatever that is. It's office equipment at this point. It's very smart office equipment. And it's only as good as the information you put into it. So there is, like any good relationship, you have to do the work. You have to give it good information to create really meaningful content. You just can't put in very bland prompts and expect to get anything impactful. Those are the two things I really try to lean into heavily with my team as we use AI.
Amazing. And look, this is anyone who is out there on LinkedIn. I think you need to heed this. If you use LinkedIn, or if you use ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using to write a LinkedIn post, please do not just copy and paste the results, because we all see it and your content sucks. Okay, you heard it here first. But talking about TA week, what advice do you have? And I know Adam always loves to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it to Aaron. What's your advice for people when it comes to conference season? What's some of your advice to get the most out of a conference? And we'll talk about TA week. What's your advice for someone who's new, going to a conference for the first time? How do you approach them? How do you get the most out of it?
Yeah, like my boss told me to go to this conference. I want to use my learning stipend this year because I didn't do it last year. For me, I'll give my own thoughts on this. I go to conference season to get fed. I want to learn things, especially for those of us that work remote or we're hybrid in office 1 or 2 days a week. It's really easy to stay in your box not think about new ways of doing things, not explore new technologies, new vendors. It really broadens your mind. So I do encourage everyone to attend those things that are of interest to them, and then really, really stay present. Work will be there 100% when you get back. We've all gone to conferences and sat next to the person that was on their phone the whole time, working, taking conference. Yeah, I've done it as well.
No,
And
I was the guy on the phone.
yeah, no, I know. And I've been the guy too, Joel. I've been the guy. And it's so easy for me to sit here, in January at home and be like, be present. But if you're going to take the time to step away from work, and there's going to be heck to pay when you get back, right? You're going to have 3 or 4 days of work. It's really important that you do take the time to invest heavily and then connect. Anytime somebody asks, how do you know so-and-so? Yeah, I met him at a conference. 9 times out of 10, I met him at a conference. So I do really look forward to connecting with folks. You learn so much about people in this industry from a drink at the bar, from a happy hour, from a mixer. Any of those things I think are just as important as the content that you're taking in.
Amazing. Well, Aaron is going to be presenting at TA Week. It's going to be on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, and that's from 2 p.m. to 2:40. Targeted sourcing in the AI age. Cannot wait to check it out. Can't wait to meet you face to face as well. If I'm on my phone, just slap me and be like, dude, be present. Where can people connect with you? Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. I'm the only Aaron Kraljev out there. Please send me a note. I respond to everything, good, bad.
Uh-oh. Now you're gonna get like all these hordes of spam salespeople.
I get them anyways. It's all good.
True. I love it. Awesome. Well, connect with Aaron on LinkedIn. We will see you at TA Week. Super excited for your session. And guys, if you want to find out more about AI, I would suggest connecting with Aaron as well. And hopefully we'll be posting about that talk as well. Super excited for that. And if you're not going to TA Week, get to TA Week because there's going to be a ton of great content. Aaron, thank you so much. We will talk soon. Can't wait to meet in real life. And we'll move on to Surge with the weather. See you, Aaron.
Take care.
Good morning, beautiful people. On today's HR Weather, I want to put it out there that I feel learning and development, or L&D, will be the most important part of HR and overall business in 2025. So here's why I feel like this. As we know, the rise of AI and automation is very well documented. The WEF predicts that 44% of workers will need reskilling within the next 5 years. So this means that L&D is no longer optional. Really, it's a survival strategy for a lot of business. The skills needed to be relevant in this workforce now change on average every 18 months. Let's think about that. Let's think about our parents and people in the workforce generations before. You could pretty much survive your whole career with not learning any real new skills. That has changed completely. There's also employee expectations, those pesky employees. 94% of employees say they would stay at a company longer if they feel that the company invested in their career development. And if we think about like Gen Z and millennials, who now make up around 50% of the workforce, that actually feels really low, but that's what the stat says. They rank professional growth as the top priority. I just want to make sure that we don't confuse this with boring HR training courses that we all pretend to sit through and follow through. But the other factor is business agility. The world of work is moving, as we all know, at such a rapid pace. L&D equips your teams for that market shift to adapt to those market shifts. You have to think of L&D as your company's safety net for the unexpected. And I'm predicting a lot of unexpected situations in 2025. It's going to be a wild ride. So here's a forecast. Business that prioritize learning and development in 2025 can expect clear skies, higher retention, more engaged employees, and stronger innovations. For those that don't, there is storm clouds are brewing, high turnover, skill gaps, and good luck being competitive. So if you're an HR leader right now and you're not taking L&D serious, it's really the time to change your tune. That's your HR weather forecast. I'm Serge Boudreau, helping you navigate the shifting HR climate. Let's get back to the panel.
I take LSD seriously. I really do.
Well,
That was funny.
What? You got to seriously take LSD. Serge, I know Joel has something to say about this.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
did you see the top 25 fastest growing jobs that LinkedIn
Yes.
posted?
Yes.
L&D was in there. I think it was
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
4, which a lot of people commented on and said, well, over the last few years, there's been a lot of layoffs in that space, and because there was that spike during COVID where everybody needed online curriculum to onboard people. L&D spiked, then it went away. So curious, Serge, what are your? Is this in line with what you're talking about? And are we gonna just see a
Yeah,
resurgence in this?
exactly. Well, there's even situations. There's some major banks here in Canada that instead of investing in learning and development, have just laid off their staff and rehiring. And for a lot of companies, that's like it's
So
not
much higher
possible,
costs.
right? Like, just take the time, look at the workforce you have right now, and figure out the skills that you need. Because we're a lot smarter than a lot of people think, right? Like we can learn new skills, like
Right.
all of us in the workplace, even like old people like
Even old
myself and
people.
Adam, like we can actually learn new things. So like we just need to train them.
Try it. So, Serge, what are your thoughts on joining us over here and becoming the 51st state?
Oh, come on. Do we really want to
Oh,
like
Come join the
Here-
smart people here down south.
yeah, no one in Canada is taking that seriously.
Even your
right?
governor
I would love to be the governor, actually. I think
of
that
Canada.
would be,
Yeah.
I know I could represent Canada really well.
Well,
gonna
it depends if the
happen.
mic is on or not, right? We got to keep that mic. We got to watch where you stay on the mic, right? I mean, that's something we need to work on.
Seriously,
Yeah,
we need to come up with a
because-
catchy headline or like a phrase for Boudreaux. feel like
So, so let me ask you: Do you guys think that's even like a remote possibility? What
Yeah.
do American think? Because Canadians are laughing it off. Like, there's-
No, it's listen, we love you guys, but we're cool over here, and it gives us, when we cross over, it feels like we're in a different country. Like it feels cool that we're going like international. So I want to keep it the way it is.
I'm
Especially
from the
Montreal.
UK originally, and we still run everything, so it's all good.
I don't even think about Canada.
Do Gen Zers actually like? Is Canada on their map? Like, do they understand where it is? And it's
They never
importance
learned
to
geography.
the
They
economy?
I only learned about Canada when I was in like 6th grade.
Really.
That's
3 years ago.
exactly why Canada will never join the U.S. Like we are way more world aware than Americans. But I'm saying that I love Americans. Don't get me wrong.
Well, Gen
Maybe
Z
Danielle.
is they're just the center of the universe, so it's just all about them, right? Right, Danielle?
Yeah.
Danielle,
Exactly.
maybe geography is a new skill that you can learn in 2025.
Oh no! After I realized I didn't know what Canada was, then I was like, oh, I should probably learn geography. So self-taught geographer over here.
Right.
you go.
A
Don't worry, I've been
cartographer.
to
She's map skills.
38 countries,
Wow.
maybe
and,
more.
And Canada?
Canada included.
Hmm.
Oh, you've been? We've allowed you in. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, once, only once. Maybe twice actually.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
surprised. So, what skill, Joel? What skill are you going to learn in 2025?
How to
Speaking. Yeah, actually, you're right.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the
Speaking,
money.
I think being engaging. Like I've worked really hard on video and being able to speak online. Like that was a
It's a great
skill
job.
that I've worked hard. I think speaking in person is something I really want to grow in, and I've always not taken myself serious, which might find funny, right? I think maybe because I post a lot of memes and all that type of stuff. But there's a level of seriousness, and I do actually have things to bring, and I want to be able to do that. So for me, it's speaking. Adam, how about you?
Yeah, I think, and we're being serious here for a moment. I think I get that vibe too, and that's something that I'm working on as well too. How do we continue to build our brand, our reputation, what other people think of us? And they make assumptions from the content we put out there, and that's why I'm focusing more on not worrying about what other people do online, not worrying about the nonsense out there, and focusing on me, focusing on my content. And yeah, I'm going to try to do a little bit more of those Joel style one-on-ones, not to the extent of his what's the word I'm looking for? Basicness, but going a little bit deeper into the actual content and spreading some good word out there. Danielle, what are you working on?
I would kind of echo your point about not worrying about what other people are doing and just resetting. I think I had some time, in the past month, just like refocusing on what do I actually want to put out there in terms of content, and more consistency. That's something I struggle with all the time.
Is
Um,
Oh,
there's-
those are good.
consistency a skill?
I
you
think
know,
so. I think it is. I think
so.
it's a habit. I think it's a skill. I think consistent. I would just to jump in there. I think it is a skill. I mean, if I'm just giving a point of reference here, like it is a
Yeah.
skill by being disciplined and putting something out and repeating and doing something that's going to help you move forward. I think it's a skill.
Yeah. I
Agreed.
will say, as someone who has like a health constraint, I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I have PCOS. It's polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it like affects probably like 1 out of 10 women in the US alone. And it really impacts like your hormones, and it
Right.
makes sort of the different phases of, your menstruation, it makes it more intense. And so when I feel like I don't want to do anything, right? And like I'm in that phase of the month, I really feel like I don't want to do anything, or I don't want to talk to anyone. And so I think I'm still learning how to balance like my hormonal changes throughout the month as a woman, and also, being a business owner and being a content creator, and like having to show up and have consistency. So I think that's like I've kind of pinpointed it to that part of my life of like health, which I've been really focused on.
Those are all good things.
Yeah, all good things, but
Awesome.
glad that
Well,
yeah.
well, I think and it goes back to what I was saying before. Instead of resolutions for the new year, set intentions, right?
Yes.
Resolutions, like how are you going to do something? How are you going to do better at something? What's your intention out
Systems,
there?
bro. Systems.
Systems.
You've
So
been reading
Serge,
Atomic Habits or what?
of course, Serge, leave us with some final thoughts before we transition.
As U.S. will be the 11th province really soon, we're looking forward to having you join us. But I do want to call out, I know, Adam, you talked about the start for our folks in California. Like, our hearts are there. Canadians are supporting you. I think the whole HR
Yeah.
community, the whole world of work.
Send those super soakers, man. Keep sending them.
Yeah, those are badass, right? Have you guys
So cool.
seen those? Like,
First of all, the pilots come down and they've got these two things that come out from the bottom, and they're not that big, and they have to hover right above the water without dipping in and crashing, scoop that water up and dump it. That's
So
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Super soaker.
But we're here to help.
We are here to help. And thank you to our friends in the 51st state, Canada.
Hey, real quick though, Serge, how cold is it there? Just so people can get
Temp check. So we're going to talk about actual weather, the weather report.
What is the actual weather right
What
now?
is the actual weather?
Well, it depends where you are in the country, but like to give you Americans, who are the only ones that use Fahrenheit, it's around -7 Fahrenheit right now where I'm at.
That is Arctic.
It's a little nipply.
Yeah.
Little
You
nipply.
be in San Diego though to heat up, or are we keeping you?
Yeah, where
I am
where
going to be in San Diego. I will be
Wow,
there with
we-
you folks, so
we have quite the
if they let me
crew.
in, I'm not sure if they'll be let in.
I'm gonna have major FOMO, guys.
That's all right, Danielle.
You
We're
won't
all,
even
we're all
need you won't
It's
even
gonna be
need
a sausage party. We need some women to break that up.
we need some femme
and
energy.
Danielle, I know how much you like hanging out with me, so it's your loss. Really.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you, Serge, for the weather. Catch Serge either virtually or real every other Tuesday. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not, but he's always here. Serge, thank you so much for joining us with the weather. And let's keep the show rolling.
Let's go.
Hello. We are back with another Xto Z segment. How are you doing, Mervyn?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I've just been listening to Surge, and as we are another Fahrenheit country, it's pretty cold here. It's about 4 or 5 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that's cold. What do you got there? You got a sloth?
I got a sloth, but I'm unfortunately there. You go. You can see him.
There we
Instead
go.
of me. That's much
Did
better.
you name the sloth anything?
I haven't yet.
I think I just decided this one is Jessica.
Jessica.
I don't know about the other one yet.
Okay.
But we're not here to talk about sloths. We're here to talk. We're here to talk about a hot topic
Yes.
in the news, and that is Gen Z shunning hustle culture in favor of long-term jobs. So this is a topic that I've actually kind of seen coming for a few years because a friend of mine did some research and she found that 61% of Gen Zers that she surveyed would prefer a place that they could work for 10 years or longer if it was the right culture. And that was sort of, to me, the first indication that we were going more towards this trend of seeking stability, seeking a place where we could, put our roots down and we could rely on an employer very similar to probably when you entered the workforce of, going to a company for a long time. Lifelong employment, I remember, was a thing. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this story.
Okay, well, I've kind of seen it coming. For those Purple Acorn fans, you might have seen me on the Alder Hour a couple of weeks ago, which is Matt Alder's Monday show, talking about this and Gen Z and how, for people like me and Matt, we could build a life. Work gave us our life, in terms of, meeting somebody, buying our first property, raising a family. There was always the stability in employment. There was always the stability that the organization would look after you. They would promote you. They would give you pay rise. They would give you more opportunities. And obviously, a lot of that has been taken away. And we've gone towards hustle culture. And instead of being able to save some money and put a deposit down, it's like the bank of mum and dad, as we call it in the UK. I'm not sure what the US expression is. And so it doesn't surprise me that there is this kind of move back to, hold on a minute, looking at a slightly older generation, a more experienced generation, shall we say, who are in management and leadership. When you guys started, you had that stability. You were able to build a career. You were able to build your knowledge base yourself. The company invested in you. It's about time you did that for us. So it doesn't surprise me. I think it's a great opportunity. I think there will be some people who possibly, depending on how Gen Z they are, in terms of what age they are, I guess, might feel, but I'm enjoying this hustle thing, and I'm enjoying not knowing what tomorrow is going to bring. And I love the fact that, next week I could be going to a conference in America, and the week after that I could be going to one in Amsterdam, and we like all that thing. But I think that overall there'll be some that say, I actually want to structure something that I put myself into and be part of.
Oh, it looks like we might have lost Mervyn, but I can pick up where he left off. Oh, where's Mervyn? Oh, Mervyn looks like he's back. Yeah, go ahead, finish that thought.
I'm back.
Yeah. You were saying that Gen Zers are looking for somewhere they can.
Danielle, you there?
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, Adam.
Am I live?
Have I shut it down or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I can.
I can only hear you, Adam. I can't hear
Oh.
Danielle.
Okay, Adam's gonna be our translator for the moment. Well, I'm just gonna say this. As someone who is in kind of that bucket that Mervyn was talking about, I've spent many. No, there's an echo now.
I can hear her though.
Oh my God, there's an echo. Guys, this is a thing about a live show. All right. There's an echo for me. I really can't focus. All right. So as someone who is in this like Gen Z cohort, I find myself now wanting that, that like longer term stability, wanting to be a part of something larger than myself, wanting the structure of being in, a corporate, it doesn't necessarily have to be a corporate environment, but just amongst a team of people who really understand and can invest in that next generation and are looking maybe to also pass the torch. I think for a lot of leaders, especially of boomer age, like, you guys are aging out. You don't want to work anymore. You want to retire and you want to spend time and live the life that you have spent so many years to build.
I keep getting asked to unmute my microphone. I did hear her. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Oh, excellent. Excellent. No, I heard everything you said.
This is literally this is like very,
I
very
hope
generation.
I hope you're not likening me to your mum, and it's the tech you're likening. But anyway, I agree with you, Danielle, and I think it's a lonely place. And the thing with hustle culture is it's very draining. Hustling all the time is it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of, you've got to have a very tough spirit, because sometimes not everything will go properly. Not everything will work according to plan. Not everything will land as it's supposed to land. And if you're building your way within a bigger structure, be it an organization or a community or something, you've got that support there, and you've got somewhere to turn for that and for help and stuff. And it's a good way to learn. It's a good way to learn. You've always got sounding boards. So it doesn't surprise me. And I think that it's a great, I think it's an interesting turn, because you and I started talking about this kind of stuff 6, 7, 8 months ago, when we probably wouldn't have been talking about this then.
Mhm.
So I think there has been a change, and probably, towards the end of last year, there was a lot of political upheaval in Europe, in the US and things. And maybe, at times like that, work organizations, whatever our relationship with them, whether it's an employee, whether it's a freelancer, whether it's somebody that inputs, we need that structure there. It's the people we look for to guide us in where times are maybe a little bit uncertain.
Yeah, I would agree. And going back to the story that Serge brought, there's such a need to invest in learning and development, especially when things are moving so fast. And I think Gen Z wants to look to their employer. Of course, we learn on our own. We're actually the highest number of adopters comparatively across generation of AI, and we're most comfortable, which makes a lot of sense. We're digital natives, but we also want to look to our employers to ask them, where is this going, and what should I be learning, and can you point me in the right direction? And I think that we're looking for those organizations who are willing to invest in us, and I think it's kind of that simple. But at the same time, I think that many organizations have pulled the plug on L&D and are maybe shifting the onus of responsibility back onto the employee. I think the pendulum will swing back, and is swinging back. And
I think it will. I think you're right. I think it will. I mean, I think part of it was a reaction to the fact that all the information you need is out there somewhere. We've put a manual online. You can dip into it as you want. But it's if I look back at the early part of my career, I trained originally as an accountant and stuff. I couldn't pick that up by just, other people, by hustling other people around the business, or kind of keep on nagging them. What do I do now? What do I do next? I needed some kind of formal learning and training and access to that knowledge.
Yeah.
So I can see why it would be important. And I think it's something organizations need to be alert to, because they possibly have been thinking, we've got these Gen Z coming in, and they can do a lot of this for themselves. And I think it's important they understand that no, you need the support, you need the input, you need that there to be able to go and figure things out for yourself. Maybe.
Right. I'm curious this question for you, as someone who's seen the rise and fall of hustle culture. Do you think there's any benefits to hustle culture, like what it's brought to the job market, to the employer economy, like how things have worked in the past, however many years? Like what has the rise and fall of hustle culture really brought in a positive way?
Well, as somebody who spent, I suppose, quite a bit of my career earlier on in kind of like sales and marketing and things, so I suppose I was a bit of a hustler, because in that respect, selling to organizations. But I think that one of the problems with that is that, and particularly where we talk so much more now about mental health, emotional well-being, those kind of things, which are increasingly important. The problem with hustle culture, if the hustles aren't going anywhere, they're not working, they're not, you're being rebutted, you're being turned back, you're not getting what you want from it, it has a big negative impact. Whereas there is comfort in learning and understanding and feeling that you are building your knowledge bank. You have greater understanding of what it is you're supposed to be doing. You have more confidence in your own skills because you put them to practice and you can see that they work. You can see
Right.
that you have certain skills, you have certain things, ways of doing things, which actually are successful and
That are
actually
valuable.
and get you results. Yes.
Right. And I think a big part of hustle culture actually came from, the job market being super competitive, but also being basically in surplus, right? Like we think back to 2019, it was people were getting these really amazing jobs, every 2 seconds. And I think the like the incentives to stay at companies weren't so strong then because you saw that, oh, well, I could make 6 figures working at Meta and I could make even more than that working at whatever other company, Apple. And I think what's interesting now is because, in my opinion, there's so much changing around us that I think, especially as a young person, it's like very overwhelming. And we haven't experienced the phenomena of things happen in cycles and history repeats itself. And so we're so overwhelmed, and we're also trying to figure out how to live life in our, that's what you do in your 20s. And so I think that we are craving that kind of what you were saying, that consistency, that reliance on, oh, here's a place, here are leaders I can trust who will guide me in the right direction. And I think that's a big part of, where that's coming from, where that desire is coming from. And as someone who is feeling that desire as well, I can attest to it. And I think it's a good time to start planning your Gen Z attraction and engagement strategy.
Just as well, because I have 2 sessions coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks about attracting and retaining the Gen Z workforce.
Oh.
So I shall be quoting you. I think also that if I could just say that I think if we go back, boomers and Gen Z, possibly, the older half, the earlier half of Gen Z, there was a bit of a spillover from the parent generation who were looking at building stable lives. If we go way back, there's obviously a history of wars and things. And once you had that kind of peace and you had people being able to build comfortable lives, if we go from grandparents to parents to us, then it's kind of, that was comforting to them. And the if you had the security blanket of the organization that looked after you and made sure that you were healthy, that you can, if you needed certain things, they could provide it to you. I think that was quite important. And there was possibly over the last 10 to 15 years a bit of rolling back, particularly newer organizations. We want young people with lots of ideas, lots of energy, who aren't worried about that. They're not going to start nagging us before they've started about their health benefits and this and this and this. We just want people with ideas and energy. And I think there is possibly a bit of a rolling back from that now.
That's interesting. I want to be mindful of time. But this has been a really great conversation. I look forward to more. I think there's more we could talk about from, in terms of how AI is changing things around innovation and things like that. But thank you so much. And people can find you on LinkedIn, Mervyn Dinnen.
I'm mainly on LinkedIn. I'm on the various social platforms at Mervyn Dinnen. Yes.
Mervyn. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Right.
Mervyn.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's how we do it. That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Let's
keep it Mervyn and Gervin. So
Keep it
thank you, as always, for everybody joining us on the HR Morning Show. You can find us here every Tuesday morning, live 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 7 a.m. out on the West Coast. Please check out all of our shows, and big shout out to our sponsor, Aaron. We have the Alder Hour. That's Mondays at 12 PST, 3 o'clock on the East Coast. Stay tuned for Hire Her, a Talent Collective podcast. That's Wednesdays at 10 a.m. My First Job with Mike Wood, Thursdays at 11 PST. And From the Desk with Jada Matamanaro, Fridays at 11 a.m. to Eastern Time, right? Check out more.
I want to be on My First Job.
Yeah. I would love to tell some stories of the early job out there. And everyone
I'm
joining
going to
us in the
start a
comments.
podcast called My First Firing. The story about
Well,
My first layoff.
funny you say that. We did try that about 2 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I'll send you the we did a couple of takes of that. I'll show you. That's a story for another time. But everyone out there, thank you for joining.
That was actually a good idea. Maybe it wasn't.
The problem was that people didn't want to they didn't want to talk shit, smack about, all their previous, and then it wasn't good enough because they couldn't tell the name of the company, and there's a lot to it. But anyway.
I worked for a Series AB funded fintech company that I got fired.
I work for a giant social media platform that sounds like Zeta. Yeah, you guys get it.
I work for LinkedIn.
Well, everyone out there.
Hey, no, real quick. I want to just people in the chat. Is TikTok going to get banned the next time? We're online?
5 days.
Joel, so if TikTok gets banned, are you gonna reduce that number of your social media following, or you already established it?
Bro, I'm on the Clapper now, so I'm on
what?
Clapper and Lemonade.
Yeah, that's where the kids are. The kids are. That's where the kids are.
I'm on Lemonade and Clapper.
The Clapper. I remember the Clapper from the Clap On Clap Off. Show you how old I am. But everyone out there, thank you for joining us on the HR Morning Show. Please check out more at purpleheadcorn.io. Catch us here every Tuesday. Thank you so much to Joel, Danielle, all of our guests. Come see us on the road. Come see us here every Tuesday. Be good to yourself. Be better to others. And we'll catch you next week right here on the HR Morning Show. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Later,
Adios.
guys.